Hey guys, this is Impact Hall of Famer Gail Kim, and you are watching the Countdown City WrestleCast.
What's up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your host, JC, and I'm joined this week by Tommy.
You.
And, of course, we got Mike.
Mike, and I stand Riot Squad Billy Kay.
To be fair, actually, so do I. So, yeah.
And for the record, I'm an old person, so I will use Stan, but I ain't using Simp. I can't do it.
You're a teacher. You got to be in with the lingo with your students.
Well, that's the only reason I know those words. But
yeah, no. I'm Terry Count, of course, at CCG_WrestleCast. Subscribe here at the Countdown City Geeks YouTube channel, and I encourage you to subscribe because get notifications on. Because when we do get into the Royal Rumble, when it's going on live, when the matches start, especially the Royal Rumble matches, we will be broadcasting live from our YouTube, Countdown City Geeks, what our live reaction will be to the whole craziness of everybody coming out. We've got that pretty much all set up. We're ready to go. Just kind of waiting for the event to get here so we can react live and go crazy.
This is literally the first time I'm hearing about this. You have never told me we were doing that. Okay.
You're a liar, because we tested it last week, a-hole.
If Gilbert's not in the Rumble, I riot.
Gilbert better be number one.
Gilbert should be in the Rumble. I don't even remotely care about people's feelings anymore. Gilbert should be in the Rumble.
I hope Gilbert is number 1 or number 30 and he wins the whole thing. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Why can't he? I'm legitimately asking, why could he not at this point? Who would care?
That'd be great. That'd be great.
It'd be awesome.
Today we're gonna recap Impact HardtoKill. A really, really good show. I mean, let's face it, New Japan brought it, Impact brought it. This was a lot of fun to watch, and we're also going to talk.
Brought it.
No, well, talk about Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Tag Team 50. The first year ever, they're doing a list of the top 50 tag teams in the world, and women too. Exactly. So this is a really good list. We're going to get into that, break that all down. So let's start with HardtoKill. Guys, first thoughts. What did you like? What did you dislike? How long has it been since you watched an Impact pay-per-view as well? I mean,
For me, it's been a while. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But okay. I'm sorry. It was pretty solid. Like it really was. Like I don't know if there was necessarily a bad match or one I didn't hate. I hate to sound like a broken record. The no fans and the small arena combined still take a little bit away from me for the overall show. But everyone involved really, really brought it with the match. Even I think it was the opening match, but the 6-man with Eric Young's team versus Tommy Dreamer and Rhino and
Well, that ended up being second because they added Decay against.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah.
That was
his official name. Caleb with a K is great.
Yes, Caleb with a K.
That match was funny. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I just learned this earlier, late last year. Did you know? I think Crazy Steve is Fast Eddie Vegas used to wrestle here a lot. I think he's legally blind in one eye. I think.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe I heard and I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And seeing him wrestle has always been remarkable. Knowing that too, I think Marvel had told me about that too.
Well, it's like Mysterio when he had to wrestle with the eye patch for a couple weeks.
Good God.
Anyway, you mentioned the Eric Young, the old school 6-man, and they have a name for Eric Young in his guys, Violent by Design.
Yes.
Pretty cool name. I like some of these names that are coming together. It was weird to me watching the intro and seeing AEW footage in the intro for an Impact pay-per-view.
Yeah,
but it's still really cool, the setup for all this. So
I do love this one thing about it, from a Japan standpoint for me, is seeing Joe Doring in a match that is essentially where the main event has a former New Japan guy, and everyone who may have watched that are now got to see an All Japan mainstay who was there for a while. Because, oh, by the way, I meant to point this out at the beginning. D'Lo Brown and Matt Striker might be my new favorite commentary team because I was laughing at them a good chunk of the night because they were just so funny. I think at one point they were talking about somebody getting pinned. And Matt Striker brought up the chest protector that D'Lo used to wear. And he whispered, he said, I think he said, like, dude, kayfabe. And I was like, what the hell?
Oh, okay. On that note, real quick, there was also a moment in the X Division match because it had Manic and
Chris Bay and Rohit Raju.
Yeah, right. And he goes for a really complicated, like, Oklahoma roll into like the crucifix pin, and Matt Striker out of nowhere called it something real weird, like I don't even remember, like the Tinkerbell or some sort of like.
Yeah.
And D'Lo was like, "What did you call it?" He's like, "I don't even know. I just made it up."
It sounds they're having fun. That's what's great.
Yeah, it sounds they're having a blast, and I'm like, yes, have a blast. Who cares? So.
They were a good commentary team. The kayfabe bro thing was hilarious. Keeping that up, and I honestly, there's not a lot of direction in what they were doing. They're just kind of ad-libbing and going with it. And it was actually really cool.
Well, Matt Striker's always been a guy whose commentary I enjoy. So when he ad-libs, it's funny. And D'Lo Brown, I just like. Period. I
like D'Lo.
So I just thought that's a great team together. I can't lie. A part of me is always gonna miss Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne only because she was so snarky with him and she just like obviously didn't care. It just worked. But I do like this team that they got. So
you mentioned Madison Rayne. She got to present the Knockouts Tag Team Championships along with Gail Kim to Fire and Flava, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, who beat Havoc and Nevaeh. A pretty fast-paced match for a tag team match too. I was very impressed with this.
I'm so heartbroken.
But I want to throw this out there, and I mean this not jokingly or mean. I kind of, after watching that, I want to see Havoc and God, I'm forgetting people's names tonight. WWE former women's champion Rock's cousin. Nia Jax. Sorry, Jesus.
Nia Jax.
Just one of those nights. Yeah, I know Havoc was good, but like especially in this match, just like her power against those two. Yeah, she pulled off some really like impressive moves, and I was like, man, I want to see kind of like a women's monster match between them two. As long as Nia doesn't try to hurt her. But
seeing them against each other or as a tag?
No, against each other. Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Be down for that.
Because maybe Havoc can bring her along a little bit and get something out of her.
Yeah, and as long as she's patient with her, I think that would be a pretty interesting setup. And
just a side note, sorry.
Yeah, it's a side note, but I mean, never seen her in wrestling. That'd be great, but who knows, right?
Yeah.
Matt Cardona showing up to battle Ace Austin, a quick little DQ match, but it was cool to see him kind of showing up everywhere. He'd been in AEW, now he's here. I wonder if he's making a permanent home here with Impact. So, but who knows?
I don't know.
It seems like
yeah.
He's one of the guys who I was positive if there wasn't for this travel ban, he'd be the journeyman. He'd be literally everywhere. Like,
oh yeah.
Honestly, I think if Impact doesn't get a new working deal with New Japan, I could see him absolutely going to like All Japan or Pro Wrestling Noah.
DDT.
He'd be great in DDT. Oh my god, he'd be hilarious.
I think he would have fun there.
Man, he would have a ball with DDT, and they would have a ball with him there. They would they would absolutely go nuts if he walked through their door. So yeah, that'd be great.
This pandemic needs to go away so this stuff can happen.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. You mentioned the X Division match. How about that little Great Muta moment we got where they unmasked Manic and he's got paint on underneath it? How about that?
Going back to Striker and D'Lo Brown, Striker kept saying, TJP and D'Lo Brown, stop calling him that. You have no reason to believe that that's TJP.
It's actually funny because I was sitting there a little bit going, he's sleeveless. He has tattoos. And then I'm like, okay, I was like, wait, I'm overthinking this way too much because they were having way too much fun with it.
No, it's the one you can pull off, like the fake tattoo thing.
I love that so much when D'Lo Brown it's almost sound like legitimately angry. Stop saying he's TJP. More than one wrestler can do that kind of move. I was like, dude, you are selling this way too hard, bro.
I mean, okay, I'll mention it now, but even when they did the Karate Man versus Ethan Page, which was just they show the promo, Matt Striker. Never mind that these two guys look exactly alike. I don't know what's going on with this. This was obviously a bad green screen cinematic, but it was one of those so bad and so short it was good kind of things to me. I don't know why.
It looked like an early 70s attempt to make a Street Fighter movie to me. That's exactly it looked. It looked like someone looked at like old karate movies with like not even Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan. I'm saying so low budget they don't even know the names of the guys who they hired.
I was just gonna say not like a reputable like studio, like dudes with like generic program on their computer with like all the free backgrounds and
yeah.
Windows Movie Maker and it was just like in the garage. They have exactly $45 to make this movie, and they're just going to see what happens.
Honestly, you would think that's how they filmed the original. That's how they basically made the original Mortal Kombat games 1 and 2. Was just green screen work, put them in poses, and digitize it. Yeah. So it's possible that it's kind of that technology. I mean, the Liu Kang bicycle kick was hilarious to me. Just sitting here doing that. But of all things, he pulls his heart out. What is it with Impact and killing people on this?
I will say this. After WWE, the number of times Undertaker has killed or has been killed, of course, I don't know if it counts for him because he's kind of already undead. But it's like I gotta say, Impact's body count is kind of impressive. I mean, if the next Impact game doesn't come with you actually be able to actually kill a wrestler, I don't know. I might be a bit disappointed. I'd be like, hey, Impact. I don't know what we're doing out here, fam. We can clearly kill everyone on screen. Why can't I kill someone in the game? I thought this was Grand Theft Auto Impact. Which, now that I said that out loud, sounds like the best game ever.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And
wait, that sounded amazing after I said it.
If you kill them, you unlock the zombie costume on the character select for that character too. So that's what happens.
No, they just go to the Dark Realm and they come back as like a Dark Realm version of themselves. If you kill someone and they like meet Rosemary and James Mitchell and Havoc and come back as like some dark version. Again, this sounds like an amazing.
As long as we get Su Young, Susie, and Susan as 3 different.
Oh my god! So I know she wasn't even out there for a long time, but finally seeing Susan, aka their Karen, that was hilarious. That was good too. Yeah.
And even D'Lo Brown just steered right into the curb and said, "Okay, Karen, that's."
They just had fun. The Knockouts Championship, Deonna Purrazzo, for the most part, just dominated the match, really. And, Taya Valkyrie lost. Tina was happy. That was the one match she picked. She got it right.
I will say to that match's credit, and I mean this as a very positive, in a positive way. It felt very old school, very like mat style wrestling, and like I said, that's not a negative against it. It's absolutely in its favor. It was cool to just see them just wrestle because they're both really good. So it was cool to see that match, see that come out of them.
And side note on that, in the fallout from HardtoKill on Impact today, we're recording this on Tuesday, obviously. Taya Valkyrie basically flat out admitted to conspiracy to be part of the plot to kill Johnny Bravo. So she was arrested and involved with that. Just didn't think that he was right for Rosemary. Was trying to do anything she could to stop the wedding and resorted to that. So, yeah. They're so proper of the Knockouts division, but it's actually quite hilarious that Taya Valkyrie's involved in that sort of subplot.
I'm sorry. This saga just keeps getting better. And I thought it couldn't be topped at the top of you were screamed no into the...
No. Yeah.
Oh my god. Who shot Bravo? No.
They should have done a Who Shot Mr. Burns. Did they do that where he looks at the camera and goes, "Can you figure it out?"
No, but they should have.
I don't know. I'll give
That'd
it a chance.
Fantastic.
What did y'all think of Moose's promo with Don Callis? I was actually pretty impressed with it. Moose has been...
I think this might be Moose's absolute breakout year because he is absolutely proving himself to be an invaluable asset to the company right now. No, go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. I was actually going to say, I actually like the one at the beginning of the show when he walks in with Rich Swann and Sabin, and Swann doesn't trust him at all. But he's like, "Hey, look, I know we did some stuff, and I did what I had to do to Willie Mack, but these guys are coming into our show. They're disrespecting us, and we're not going to stand for that." I like that one too, just to set the tone of like I know we hate each other, but they're invaders. This makes more sense than when they do it before Survivor Series, and it's just the same company in two different brands. This is literally two different companies with an actual invasion angle. So I like that part of it.
Yeah. And him saying in that promo too, like, we're on the team here, but after this, I'm coming for that title. Yeah. And literally, post-match interview that night, Rich Swann is getting interviewed. Moose comes out the door. She wants to get his thoughts on what happened to HardtoKill. Moose is about to respond, just grabs Rich Swann, throws him right into the wall, and says, "I told you when this was over, I'm coming for you next." Yeah. So, obviously that's the next setup. Yeah. Now, the barbed wire massacre, it wasn't the no rope thing that we expected, but wow, it was. I enjoy those matches where it's not just barbed wire and hardcore just to do the spots. You tell a great story with it.
You know what they did? They did an old school TNA thing of how they set it up. The first time I ever saw them set up the ring with weapons like that, it was, and I swear to God, this is the name of it. You can still look it up. It's still up there. It was Raven's Clockwork Orange House of Fun match.
Yep,
I remember that. And I'm saying that for people who didn't know because I swear to God, that's the real name. You can still look it up. It's real. This actually happened. I've seen the match several times. Yeah. And I loved like how they did that. I love the fact that they built up the moments of like them nearly killing each other like several times. Like when he almost hung Eddie Edwards on the chain. That was like, oh, that looked legitimately painful, and I wish they hadn't done that.
I've got to say, Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan seem to have way too much fun trying to kill each other. like legit. Like, I've seen a couple of their other matches, and I know it all started kind of because of the Sammy swung too hard that one time a couple years ago and hit him with the baseball bat legit, but, like, it really propelled them into a hell of a feud over the years, and they really just want to kill each other, like, or have fun with it all the time.
It's like, man, you swung that bat too hard. Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Yes.
Want to go do karate in the garage? Yep.
with weapons?
Yep.
With barbed wire?
Yeah.
It's kind of turned into one of those like best rivalries in wrestling over the last few years too, where they've set this up. It's been really good.
And I kind of like it that they spaced it out enough that it doesn't feel old yet. Like
right.
Like, even though with this recent feud, it's been a couple months, but like last time he was like wrestling Ken Shamrock and Seven Count just got in the way.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping at one point one of them gets the Impact World title and they start feuding over that.
Yeah, that might be. I don't know if it'll be this year. The way they're kind of building Moose up, the way they got
I think
down the line.
Plus, with the AEW involvement, you never know.
Prior to the main event, they did announce that Impact's next pay-per-view is Rebellion on April 24th. It is going to be pay-per-view. Won't be an Impact Plus event, which they had moved it to last year. So. It looks like this will still be Skyway Studios, depending how everything is going, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, the main event, and Tommy, I got to ask you, you're the New Japan guy. Your thoughts on the Bullet Club being on full display here throughout this entire match, even from the intros?
I was impressed. I didn't know they'll be allowed to get away with that. And it's kind of funny. The only reason I say this is because it's like I know like we said with Chris Bay, Chris Bay and TJP were in the Super J Cup, and and even Chris Bay I think even might have been in another match, and TJP were in New Japan. But anyway, to still be allowed to do that was really cool. But again, this still shows the far-reaching effects of the Bullet Club, even though they're not officially part of the group anymore. By the way, Tama Tonga has a hilarious video about that that he filmed, I think, tonight. Because
I haven't seen the video, but I love what he's been saying on social media about it.
Oh, dude, he has been quite adamant that they are not Bullet Club, and I love it because I hope that means that we're going to just cross borders soon. If that's what this leads to, I will be 1,000% okay with it.
The red and black of the Bullet Club Wolfpack. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I liked it because okay, first of all, it's free publicity for everyone. Like come on. I will say only Vince is that petty where he wouldn't even would let them wear the shirts. But it was like they wore the shirt. Carl Anderson wore the hoodie, and it was just this is where they came from. I mean, let's and not to downplay how good these guys are, but they got known as well as they do because of Bullet Club. When in this whole thing that started with just 4 guys has now expanded to 18 dudes across 5 different companies. And all of them are mainstays, Devitt NXT, AJ Styles, WWE, and so forth and so on. The effects of the Bullet Club, I would have to, I might have to say at this point might rival what the NWO did, really, in terms of not necessarily because first of all, the group's not stale. It's really not. In Japan, in Japan, they're really booking it right, because they're not always the main event. They're not always, doing everything on the card. They're in their spot. I mean, they had all the spots for the longest time, as they should have. But now you got the guys, got fluctuating leaderships. Who's really the leader? Is Jay White still there? Blah blah blah. But the guys who were there, who made their careers being part of the group, are top of the card everywhere now.
Yeah, it's not every week where they're showing up with 10 limos and 100 people suddenly expanding when they show up. I mean, and yeah, you mentioned it. They're expanding with so many companies, and I know, that they're saying Tama Tonga saying they're not Bullet Club. Maybe they really are, and it's okay to claim that because the idea with the group was they're taking over everything. That was the whole point. They wanted to be everywhere. They wanted to take over all of it, and in a way, they kind of are. You mentioned David, aka Finn Balor, champion in NXT right now. Good Brothers, tag team champions in Impact, and then of course Kenny Omega, and to an extent the Young Bucks, who were part of the 5 of them together in AEW, are taking that over as well. So it says a lot about a group when you're pretty exclusive on who you let in, and then just sneak away and just kind of take things over slowly but surely. And maybe one day, when Triple H is in charge, they'll expand that and acknowledge it in WWE on some level, and you can start a big stable war, if you will, among everything.
I think Triple H kind of respects what they did. He has to. He did the curtain call. He did the original curtain call. He's got to respect what they did because pretty much all this in wrestling right now is his, Sean's, Scott's, and Kevin's fault.
And
everything that's happening in wrestling right now is absolutely their fault.
And he took the fall for that too, because if that doesn't happen, he was supposed to win King of the Ring that year. Says, hey, we got to put you on the back burner, bury you for a bit. But then Steve Austin was King of the Ring, and the rest is history from there. And Triple H eventually works his way back. So
basically, what world would we live in if the curtain call never happened? Jeez,
it would be different.
Very, very different.
2 things though on all this. Going back to Vince being petty. Remember when he called them the club, the original club, and the only one that matters?
Yeah.
That literally they just, I know they were old Bullet Club, but somehow the WWE version of them was the original. Also, if we're going to break up and have all these factions, I need Latino Bullet Club.
Yes.
I need luchadors or some Mexican wrestler Bullet Club version with green, red, and white shirts.
And for the hell of it, maybe that'll be the offshoot of the Los Ingobernables de Japón, something like that.
Yeah.
LIJ could be an offshoot of the Latino.
They can't be Bullet Club, though.
Maybe.
Well, evil, that traitor. He went Bullet Club. Son of a bitch. I'm still not over that.
Look, his name was Evil. What'd you expect?
Yes.
I don't care. Traitor.
The main event, though, was great. I thought it was very interesting that they had Omega pin Swan after the One-Winged Angel, champion pinning champion. I was like, wow. Obviously, when Tommy and I talked about this previewing it last week, Alex Shelley was supposed to be in this match. He sent out a message on Friday, I believe, Thursday or Friday, that he wasn't going to be able to go. He confirmed he's not COVID positive, but a lot of people are wondering if he came in contact with somebody that is, and that's why he could not make the trip. So they put Moose in there. And in a way that kind of worked out better. We got Moose versus Gallows, which really good matchup.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't really see the two of them going head to head, you know. It kind of evened the team out and made it interesting. So, but overall, a great show. Honestly, my favorite match was the Barbed Wire Massacre. That one really stood out to me. I think it was better than I thought. I knew it was going to be good, but it was still exceeding my expectations on how well it was put together.
That's what I was gonna say. Was like if I had anything about the show, like they're like nitpicks, just like if like just like slow moments in certain matches. The Barbed Wire Massacre is one thing. But other than that, like those, like I said, those are nitpicks. Like the slow moments, build up. So I'm not saying like, oh, that ruined the match. No, they were just slow moments to me. But that doesn't make the match bad.
Yeah. Mine would have been the X Division match, because when not every match is kind of a spot fest, and you got one of those X Division ones, like it was just fun, and they were pulling off moves that were just crazy and insane, and again going back to the hilarity of it's Manic, it's TJP. Like, how do you know? You can't say that. That was just
and I gotta say, the Rohit is really growing on me. The more I see him, Rohit Raju is actually really growing on me, and I can't believe it, because not because he's a bad wrestler, just because he just gets on my nerves, which is his job as a heel. He's just like, dude, shut up. So, but it's like, he's really growing on me as a heel. I can see him as like a major like heel soon, because like to the point where like you're just like, he's one of the guys like, oh my god, just someone shut him up. I don't care who it is. It could be a jobber, as long as he just shuts him up.
All right, as far as our pick results, Tommy went 2-5, Mike 5-2, I went 6-1, and Tina, for only pretty much picking one match, went 1-0. She got Ty Valkyrie losing. That's all she cared about. So that worked out in her favor. Now the WrestleCast ratings 0-5, 5 being WrestleMania 17, 0 being December to Dismember. Tommy, you're going first on this one. What is your rating for Impact Hard to Kill?
I'll give it a 4.5. I really do think that they pulled out all the stops for this, and that everyone who had a match did what they do best. And that's one thing. They did what they do best. Like, no one did anything like spot fest, like Mike said. So like when the spots did happen, it's like, oh yeah, that's something they do. Like when Moose pulled out the spots he can do, because he is that athletic, gigantic son of a gun. Oh, by the way, you don't appreciate how tall he is till you stand next to him. I think when we went to WrestleMania 32, when ROH was having the show at the hotel, I got to meet him, and like, you don't appreciate this man's size until you're like, whoa, okie dokie, you don't stop growing, do you? Okay,
well,
buddy.
Kind of like JC said, seeing him next to Gallows, which was like, wow, that's
yeah. That was crazy. But yeah, this night just felt like everyone like hitting on all cylinders, and like I said, even the slow spots that I mentioned were nitpicks. That doesn't make the match so bad. If someone wants to get back into Impact Wrestling, I would say watch HardtoKill. This should be your gateway back in, because I feel like everyone was, even the Ace Austin Cardona thing was just like, to get Ace over as a heel and Matt over as a face, and I think it even did that. So for even that 3 minutes they were out there was just fun. So I'd highly recommend this show to anyone who wants to get back into Impact Wrestling.
Cool. Mike, what about you? What's your rating?
I'm probably going to go about 4.25. A pretty solid across the board. I don't think there was anything that stood out super well, but there was nothing else that really brought it down. I think everything was just pretty solid across the board. And like you said, like everyone who had their match, like put a lot into it. I didn't really feel like anyone on the card was, taking an easy night off or just not really hitting. It was pretty solid. Like you couldn't. I don't feel like like I said, there was a bad match, and it was an interesting ending. Again, the Bullet Club or the Elite or whatever they technically are at the moment, going over pinning the champ. And be interested to see. I know you said tonight that some AEW people showed up on Impact, but I'd also be interested to see if what or who finally gets back at Omega and the Good Brothers. Because eventually they're going to have to take some back. So
yeah. This one gets a 4.5 from me. Solid show as well. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but a little thing I understand they can't have a crowd there. but I've always hated the piped in audio, especially when it doesn't make sense for some of the stuff going on. It seems just real artificial to me.
Yeah.
And I know it's difficult. Not everybody can have the budget where you have virtual fans or, reactions and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just the thing for me. Honestly, if there's no crowd there, I don't mind it if it's just like a crowd playing or wrestling to nothing there and you hear that. That gives the commentator, it puts a lot of pressure on the commentators to really pull it up. And honestly, I don't think you needed the piped in audio. It really didn't really affect me at all, other than just annoyance, That brings our overall rating for this one to 4.4167. Not too shabby. In fact, way to start it off, pretty solid show. Looking forward to see what they have next. Now, Mike mentioned some of the fallout. Obviously, this AEW collaboration is still going. Matt Hardy and Private Party showed up on Impact this evening to confront the Good Brothers, Sabin and James Storm, when they were talking about who should be challenging for the Impact Tag Team Championships. And it ended up being Private Party going up against Sabin and Storm. And Private Party won, so they are going to get a shot at the Good Brothers at a future date. When we don't know yet. So
that should be fun.
But it's I'm really enjoying this talent share. It doesn't just stop because we had this match with Omega.
Yeah.
We're gonna kind of go back and forth. Deonna Purrazzo to me looks unstoppable at this point. Give me Purrazzo versus Hikaru Shida. I want to see it down the line.
I would love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do also like the idea that in that main event they did have a TNA/Impact original and Chris Sabin. I mean. Honestly, even more than Alex Shelley, with of course, no disrespect intended to him, but one of the guys who was really a guy who built his career up around through TNA and Impact was Chris Sabin, and to see him be in that main event with those guys in such a high-profile match is really cool. So,
a former world champion Paul is pretty awesome. The
guy we never got to see back in 200007 in San Antonio.
I
Card subject to change.
Think of that, because that's still funny to me, man.
Yeah, the best part about that appearance tonight was Matt Hardy basically calling out everybody there on Impact, saying, "If it wasn't for me, you guys wouldn't have a job right now because I saved this company back in 2000 or whatever it was that he was there." So,
Matt Hardy, Chris Jericho, and now Sue Young are three people who I don't care what they do to reinvent themselves, they somehow make it work. And Sue Young doesn't even need to really reinvent herself to make it work, but she does it anyway, which just proves that she could have a career decades from now and she'll still be okay. I mean, because Jericho and Hardy do it. Geez.
And the best thing about Matt Hardy is there's a little bit of truth in that because his character really did kind of bring a lot of attention with his broken universe. So,
all right, with that, we'll move on to the PWI Tag Team 50.
Woo!
We've had the PWI 500. We had what started out as the female 50 into the women's 100, and now PWI is putting together their list of the best 50 wrestlers of the year. Starting even more internet arguments, right? But
nobody else got nothing else to do.
Yeah, but honestly, looking at this list, I don't see as many arguments as you might see on the 500 or the women's 100. Maybe a few here and there that we could talk through.
In all fairness, there's a lot on here I don't know who they are.
Yeah, so pick up the magazine if you can.
Sure, yeah.
PWI-online.com. You get a digital version subscription. Get the print one. I get the print because I like having it in hand. I'm old school like that. I'm excited. What do you expect? So some of the evaluation period on this. The evaluation period for the Tag Team 50 is from October 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2020.
Okay.
Now, their minimum activity requirements are 10 matches or 4 months of activity as a team. That's very important. You can't just be this here, there. You got to be working as a team for a good amount of time. So this means tandems who have been recently successful, like Shane Baszler and Nia Jax, Motor City Machine Guns won't appear because they were very, very recent on the so yeah. As far as the criteria, they're basing this off of momentum, wins and losses, chemistry, creativity, activity, and their it factor. So that's what they're going based off of this. So I'll quickly go ahead and do the top 10 in reverse order. and then we'll kind of talk through the list of maybe who's missing, or what should be higher, and whatnot. So, starting with number 10, Roppongi 3K, Sho and Yo from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Number 9, the Kabuki Warriors, even though they're no longer a team, unfortunately. Still, they made the list. Number 8, the New Day. Number 7, the Lucha Bros. 6, Gorillas of Destiny. 5, the Street Profits. 4, the North. Even though, rest in peace, Ethan Page, he's dead. You had your heart pulled by the Karate Man.
No.
Sorry. Number 3, the Golden Role Models, Bailey and Sasha Banks. Number 2, the Elite. Now, when they say the Elite, they're talking about Kenny Omega and Adam Page. And number 1, FTR. Quite possibly the most underappreciated tag team in WWE, as of course the Revival. But since branding it as FTR, they've been the talk of the tag team division in AEW. So, guys, I'm leaving it wide open. Your thoughts on the list? Do you agree with it? What do you disagree with it? Let's hear it. What do you got?
Well, I personally would put Golden Role Models over the Elite, not necessarily over FTR, just because of their overall influence.
I think the only thing that affects that a little bit was the time of it's available. That's true. If it would have been almost solely quarantine time, I think Golden Role Models run away with it again because, as we've talked about many times on here, I really feel like they were the quarantine time MVPs
For WWE. Yeah, they kind of saved the company in some ways.
And but yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with those teams at the top, whatever order you finish them in. They have been the teams that have just really been solid this past year, even though like the Elite's not, that version of the Elite's not together anymore, obviously, and now the North isn't. But for the time period, obviously they were definitely the top teams. I think at least it's hard to argue with a lot of those.
The Young Bucks finished just outside of it at number 11, and honestly, if they hang on to the tag titles, for the majority of the next year, they could probably break the top 10 pretty easily.
And they weren't always consistent until they got into some of their feuds. They weren't on a regular basis just having matches in AEW all the time until they really got into the the feud with FTR and then some of the other stuff. So I can kind of see that them not being quite as high as you would think.
I was putting on my Japan hat because I was looking at this list, and number 12, the Violent Giants, is literally probably one of my favorite tag teams out of Japan. It's Shuji Ishikawa and Sawama, and I was like, wait a minute, where the hell are the Violent Giants in this list? I was about to pull a bulldog from Frasier. The snake, this total BS. Oh wait, there they are.
Go ahead, Tommy. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I was just saying because they just recently disbanded because they made a deal if they couldn't keep the tag titles, they would break off and do their own thing. So they just disbanded recently. But for a while, man, they were like just knocking dudes left and right in All Japan Pro Wrestling. They were, I think they won the tag titles twice, I think, or 3 times. And like honestly, if All Japan had more exposure, I guarantee you the Violent Giants will be higher on this list. Honestly, personally, for me, if you want me to be honest, I would probably put them in number 6 on my personal list. Violent Giants would be number 6 because I don't want to put them over anybody else in the top 5 because I get why they're there. But for my personal feelings, Violent Giants should be 6. At 34 is Axes, which I just want them to be higher along with Team Sea Stars because I personally like both teams. So I just want them to be higher because of that.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the fact that this list included not just male tag teams, but female tag teams as well. And in some essence, stables. The Undisputed Era is number 13. That includes Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole, any combination of them. The New Day, we already mentioned number 8. That's any of the 3. Even SCU at number 17, whether it's Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, they're rating them together as a team. So
how are they rating Queen's Quest, number 20?
It's Momo Watanabe, Utami Hayashishita, AZM, is that how you say it? Or
AZM, yeah.
AZM, yeah. And Saya Kamitani.
Huh.
That's the 4 of Queen's Quest. Yeah.
And I think what makes that funnier, I think Momo just left the group. No, she didn't. No, hold on. Who am I thinking of?
Mhm.
But yeah, but
The
I will
Queen's
say
Quest
this.
signature hand pose is a Q with a long tail, which actually began with the founder Io Shirai's hand sign. So,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Very cool.
Io Shirai is one of the original members
Mhm.
of Queen's Quest. Yeah.
Very cool.
No, she didn't. Tam Nakano left. Never mind. But no, she left Stars. I'm tripping on who's in the stable.
There's a lot.
My bad. I was tripping.
Going further into the list, something I think is kind of cool. At 25, you have Best Friends, which of course is Trent and Chuck Taylor. Then if you go to 32, you have Besties in the World, which is Vega
Yes.
and Fitchett. And what's kind of cool about that is they're one of the few teams in here which are not necessarily in one of the big promotions. They're not AEW,
Yeah,
WWE,
Besties,
All Japan, New Japan. They're mainly like an AIW and Indies.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going to call it out because we're very familiar with Vega and Fitchett. We've seen them for a long time. The write-up on them in this is hilarious. It's pretty awesome. So I need you guys to listen up.
Okay,
so
sure.
Here we go.
Okay.
BFFs have been tearing up the independent scene since 2011, but the last 12 months may have been their best yet. Entered our evaluation period in their third reign as AAW Tag Champs and AAW. And also bagged doubles gold in Black Label Pro, where they defeated the odd couple of Ethan Page and Don Hudson to lift the straps. Best career win to date came at Evolve 141, where they defeated AR Fox and Leon Ruff to become what could be the last ever Evolve Tag Team Champions. And they still have one of the best entrances, Is the Business.
Yes, they do.
Of course, their entrance music is Truly Madly Deeply by Savage Garden.
I was there at AEW in Austin, and when they did it, I didn't know there was a dance to it. So I don't know if I showed you guys the dance. Apparently, it's I want to stand with you on a mountain. I want to bathe with you in
go
the
to YouTube and Google it. I'm sure it's out
Yeah,
there.
seriously, guys.
So,
if y'all haven't seen them, go to YouTube and find them.
It's
really
hilarious.
are great.
It's hilarious because they put the number, they put the name of the team, who it is, and they have like a blurb like combined weight, years together, home promotion. For them, entrance theme, Truly Madly Deeply by Savage Garden. That's their highlight little blurb right there before they get into it. So, but I was very happy to see them on this. Didn't have a picture attached to it, but definitely look them up there.
And I will say there are two numbers that are cool for me to see: 30 with Dangerous Techers, and then 40 with Rock and Roll Express.
I was just going to say that 41 too.
Yeah, because
and Robert Gibson. Yep.
Because honestly, on longevity alone, they should be number one. But
like
they're going to be the Liger of this list, basically.
Seriously, the fact that they had enough matches to get in there.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
dude. Like I liked it when they were at BOW year before last, I think. And they do. First of all, those guys just like having fun. Like they were just kicking it with fans. They would like talk with anyone who wanted to talk with them. And during their match, I could tell they were having the time of their lives that they could just get in the ring with guys who just were like respecting them, and it was just so fun.
In all seriousness,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was gonna say my one sad one is 31 Tokyo Cyber Squad, and we all know why. So yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna joke. If you looked at 39 and 40, you might have thought it was like 1984 or something.
Yeah,
Von Erickson.
You know what?
Yes. It is Ross and Marshall.
I know it's the younger, the next generation, but just Von Erickson Rock and Roll Express in 2021 and 2020 is quite something.
Yeah, it is.
I'll say. Imperium and Gallus. Gallus was 37, Imperium 41. Obviously, they would be a lot higher if the pandemic wasn't hitting the UK as hard as it is. Definitely.
And that makes me so sad because it's like, damn it, they should really be higher, and they would have been had it not been for all this crap.
Yeah. And then number 50, iconic.
Yes, Mike, I wanted to ask you about that. Obviously, they broke up. Let's see, when did they break up?
September?
Was it
August, something like that?
It was like August 31st. Right. So literally like with a month ago in this evaluation period, they were forced to break up for a storyline reason that makes absolutely no damn sense.
Nope.
But they still made it at number 50. And I'm hoping they get back together other than for the reason the fact that they need to be higher on this list in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Mike, how happy were you to at least see them make the list here?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, I thought it was going on. Like evaluation period, and I didn't even know before they broke up they weren't doing a lot with them. We had talked about like Peyton Royce was getting some singles matches, but again, like between their backstage skits and even like when they lost the titles and Billie Kay was throwing her fit on the outside of the ring, like if you're gonna call yourself World Wrestling Entertainment, why you don't have the Iconics still together is beyond me. Again, this one over here is just adapting to any situation. And her with and I guess I'll get into this a little bit with my 1 minute warning. But her interactions with the Riot Squad on Friday on SmackDown were just hilarious. Like whatever she does, she makes it funny.
Yeah,
she's kind of like R-Truth. She's kind of like R-Truth in that way. It's if you like, you may think she can't pull it off, but let her do what let her do her thing. I mean, she's just amazing. I'm still saying, ever since that time that woman kicked the air after they got eliminated from that tag team match, she has been one of my favorite people ever. That woman karate kicked the air because they got eliminated.
Have you seen the person that's put it to like all these different songs and stuff? Like her throwing the fit to like different rock songs, and it's like bro.
No.
Like,
yes,
you gotta look it up.
Yeah, yes.
Those are just great.
So
different wrestlers' theme songs.
Yeah, so thinking Billie Kay is not entertaining is just absolutely incorrect. She is probably one of the funniest people in the ring. Oh my god, she's so.
Hang on, I'm going through and trying to count all the female tag teams that made this list because it's a pretty good number.
While you're doing that, going back, I mean, the Briscoes being so high for an ROH being not on is pretty impressive. Pride and Prejudice being on there.
Y'all keep doing that, and I keep forgetting her actual name until I see it.
I'm so glad I called it out too. We did our year-end awards. That's pretty hilarious. So,
the Rascals, even though they're not
it's just
fully
like
together.
Disruption. I can never remember the name of that team is Retribution.
They sound so much better as Disruption. That's why. So.
It does. I can't lie.
I was telling JC before the show too. I was interested that the Artist Collective, he said, is being counted as Cesaro, Shinsuke, and Sammy. And I was trying to remember, were they together for 4 months, or did they have even 10 matches? But I guess so. I thought it would have been more just Cesaro and Shinsuke because they kind of dumped Sammy around WrestleMania, wasn't it? And then
they credit the fact that Sammy was kind of the brainchild of the group while he was recuperating from injury. So he kind of got them started. I think they're kind of going with that.
Okay.
So they were a 3-man team, and obviously it was mostly Cesaro and Shinsuke, but Sammy, once he started recuperating, was involved more. So.
They had a good run, and even though they I don't even know if they've broken up, but Nakamura's kind of on a face turn now, so that's interesting.
Yeah, he's got his old music back.
Yeah.
So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so of the 50 teams in here, 9 of them were female tag teams, which is pretty damn cool to have. Yeah.
So like, is Jinetes del Aire 28 men or women? I don't know who some of these are.
El Hijo de Vikingo, Hijo guy. Golden Magic, and so.
Oh, they're is that AAA or CMLL?
That's AAA.
What about 29? Odo
Tai. That
is a female tag team. Yes,
they're in Stardom. That's one of Stardom's oldest factions.
Oh, okay.
And they've changed leaders like 8 times.
That's B. Priestley and Jamie Hayter on that team. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'll kind of go through. Well, I guess we'll call out the female tag teams here. Number 3, Golden Role Models, Bayley and Sasha. Number 9, Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. Number 20 is Queen's Quest. We mentioned the names earlier, and I'm not going to horribly butcher them. So number 20, actually there were 22. I put because they kind of jumbled this around everywhere. I kind of got them out of order. They're actually number 22 was Bliss Cross Applesauce, which is Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross.
Okay.
Team Sea Stars was 26. Oedo Tai 29. Tokyo Cyber Squad 31. And let's see, Medusa Complex was actually 43, not 42. So
who's that?
It's Charlie Evans and Millie McKenzie.
What are they in?
I forget
let's see. They're kind of independent from the looks of this. They've been in Japan, kind of everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, number 50, the Iconics was the other one. So,
Cool.
So Golden Ace, they were 20. What number were they?
let me get back to what I say there.
It was like 20 something.
24.
Golden, 24. Golden Ace was 23. Sorry.
23. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I gotta think, had it not been for the pandemic, Golden Ace would have been higher. I gotta think they would have been higher. Like I still think, honestly, I can't lie. I feel like Kota Ibushi winning this year at Wrestle Kingdom was always the plan, regardless of the pandemic. But I gotta feel like they were gonna make them run farther with the belts. But I think I've had this feeling ever since like the pandemic hit. Like the Dangerous Tekkers winning the tag team titles was their way of kind of rewarding Zack Sabre Jr. with staying. You know, because everyone else, and I'm not saying like anyone was wrong for leaving. I mean, God, go home. I get that. But Zack Sabre Jr. made the choice. Like, you know what? I'm gonna stick it out in Japan. I'm gonna hang in there, and when we get back to shows. And honestly, if that was his reward for doing that, I 1,000% support that decision because, dude. Like, when the show started back up, Zack Sabre Jr.'s name was right there on the marquee. And I was like, dude, he's still in Japan? I had no idea. So, yeah, hats off to him. So,
yeah. Well, if you guys want to send us your thoughts, let us know what you think about the PWI Tag Team 50 ranking. Definitely go check out pwi-online.com and order your copy of the magazine. They also have a digital version. It's worth a subscription. There's a lot. And they did recently reveal their year-end awards for PWI. We'll kind of get into that. Someone had an issue with who was named the most popular wrestler, saying this can't be real. And I had to remind him that it's fan voted. So, yes, it's definitely real. But I will let you guys know the most popular wrestler of the year, according to PWI readers, was Orange Cassidy.
Good on him. I wouldn't believe that.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody who doesn't like AEW, it's AEW hater, right? So
I look. I hate to tell whoever you tell it. I'm sorry, but look. First of all, he's funny.
Yeah.
Second of all, he also knocked Chris Jericho into a tank of mimosa. That's just good booking right there.
I mean, it's fan voted its popularity. Like he, as AEW kind of got going with Dynamite, and then they finally kind of let him do his thing. Like he was a huge sensation on the internet for a good couple of months.
In a world where people are saying, well, in a world where people are saying, well, can we get new stars pushed? There's a new star.
And his argument is that AEW never breaks 1 million viewers. Well, hey, you don't need to break 1 million viewers to be popular. I mean, AEW was still our promotion of the year.
You know what's funny? Because this I'm gonna say that's gonna actually be part of our 1 minute warning. Never mind. Go ahead. Okay. Sorry.
A little bit of wrestling news though before we do get into 1 minute warning. Something big, and WWE's never really done this before. They have announced the WrestleMania sites. Obviously, we knew this year was going to be in Tampa, but they did confirm it's going to be a 2-night WrestleMania. And Stephanie McMahon did come out and say, at least at the press, that their plan is to have fans in the stadium on some level for WrestleMania. That's their plan going forward. Obviously, it'll be socially distanced and everything, probably following some of the NFL protocols. We'll see. But next year, surprise, surprise, WrestleMania is back in Arlington.
We're saving money.
I guess we're saving money, yeah. But
yeah,
we, of course, myself, Tina, Mike, and Tommy, the 4 of us that are usually on the show, are the ones that made that trip together. Mike, Tina, and I did a lot of the WrestleMania access. Tommy just got in free wherever the hell ROH was because those guys know who he is. Yeah. So. But
that's what I'm saying. I hope all this is getting cleared up by then. And then, of course, here's what's funny. As soon as that happened, the promoter for VIP Wrestling said, "Oh, come back to Arlington again, are we?" Really? I was like, I see him already stroking his goatee, just seriously, like, really? I wonder what buildings are available in that area.
JC, that reminds me of the one regret I have from the access was not waiting in line with y'all for Becky. Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, I did get Prince Pretty because he had a much shorter line, and he was really cool. But I will tell you what, I know I joked with you because you put your wish list in our group chat.
Yes.
But if she has a meet and greet, I'm waiting however long it takes.
Yeah.
So if Billy Kay's got one, I'm there.
Tina and I were just waiting for the Becky Lynch photo op to go get the autograph and everything. We waited in line for it, and it was well worth the wait. And then immediately I wanted to rush over and try and get Mandy Rose, but they'd already cut her line up. I was like, damn it. But if we're going in 2 years, please, I want Mandy Rose, I want Alexa Bliss, by God. And I really hope they do a whole setup again where they filmed NXT there in Access, which is really cool. I like that they did that. So
if we're adding it to our wish list, then I hope Shinsuke Nakamura is doing that because I want to meet the original leader of Chaos. Okay, sorry.
See if you can see some New Japan stuff for him to sign, right?
Dude, you read my mind.
We'll see. And then, of course, the year after that is SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, Los Angeles, California. Obviously, that was the original plan for them to have WrestleMania this year there. But with COVID going on, they moved Tampa to this year. And California has probably the strictest restrictions on crowds and everything. So they said, let's just play it safe and move it out 2 years from now, which is smart, I think. That is a beautiful stadium. But it sucks that this was the year it debuted in the NFL and they never had a single fan there. So it's one of those things, right? But it is a nice looking stadium. It's definitely built for a WrestleMania type event. So yeah. All right, on to our 1 minute warning segment. For those new to the show, of course, this is where we kind of get a minute to say whatever we want, wrestling related, tie it into wrestling somehow, and just kind of have at it. Mike, you mentioned you had something ready to go, so you ready?
Okay. I have to say that this past Friday on Smackdown was an amazing show. And I've been reading online that Daniel Bryan has had a lot of input into some of the people that are starting to get pushed and the direction of SmackDown. So again, in all seriousness, Billy Kay's interaction with Riot Squad was hilarious. Watching Ruby and Liv in their face while Billy is oblivious to, and just doing her thing. The faces they make were just hilarious. And of course, she cost her team the match because that's kind of her character, but she's hilarious doing it. But then Daniel Bryan and Cesaro, because y'all know my other guy is Cesaro. And I did a 1 minute warning say I want that dude to go to New Japan if they're not going to use him. Well, he beat Daniel Bryan. So I'm hoping, I don't think he's going to win the Rumble. But if, he got a pretty good run, maybe even made it to the Final Four, I'd be really impressed. Great match. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Those two just can never have a bad one.
All right. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I like the idea of him making a deep run. And but then again, if Gilbert wins it all, I think I'll be happy too. Still,
If Gilbert is even in the Rumble, then I'm down.
Look, here's what it is. Okay, I hate to say this, but Goldberg's going to beat Drew McIntyre. Gilbert wins the Rumble, and then the match we've needed for years at WrestleMania: Gilbert and Goldberg settle it once and for all on the biggest, grandest stage. Night 2 main event.
Only if Matt Riddle's in Gilbert's corner to help him win. That's what I want to see.
Special guest referee.
Yes, Gilbert's got to go.
Enforcer.
Nice. Tommy, you got anything this week?
I do.
All right. Ready, set, and go.
Okay, so for once, again, this is actually not Japan related. I'm going to talk about something I discussed with some friends of mine about AEW and like stuff that how they do things. Cody Rhodes said in a recent interview he thinks sometimes the wrestlers have too much freedom, and I do and do not disagree with that. But again, it's not my company; I don't run it. But I did bring up an interesting point: is like now they have like the Nightmare Factory up and running more, and I was like, I think we should look at these first couple years that they've been doing is trial and error. What works, what doesn't. It's a brand new company. And I've said this a million times. They were never going to reinvent the wheel. They were just trying to give fans another wrestling company to watch and give people who wouldn't normally have a job. So now we have this company, and it's like, okay, this worked, that doesn't work. This worked, that doesn't work. But at the same time, people have been getting hired. So now, going forward, it's a learning experience. Okay, this will work, that'll work, and that won't. So, but hey, it's still AEW. I'm still having a great time. And, let's see what happens in the future going forward.
Yeah, with you 100%.
Yeah. I guess to me, it's just like when people have other nitpicks about AEW. Nitpicks are one thing, but I write complaints. Nitpicks and criticisms are cool. Complaints are like,
to me, it's always come down to if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to sit there and actively complain about it. Just don't watch it.
But my also argument is they've been around only about 2 years.
Yeah. Not even
and this pandemic,
right?
any momentum they had really slowed it down. And it's not, and again, that would happen for everybody, but like, they have to
blood
adjust.
guts.
But even in a pandemic, they've still made some momentum.
Yeah.
They've been able to do a lot despite being young and despite all that. So
Yeah.
My 1 minute warning is going to start with a thank you to Matt Stryker, because during the main event, he acknowledged one person Tommy's going to be happy about. I don't know if you missed it, but he acknowledged the fact that Kenny Omega had some ties to Kota Ibushi, the current New Japan IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Champion. And he threw out the idea, wouldn't it be great to see a tournament of champions with the world champions from every company? You know what, Matt Stryker? You're damn right it would be good. Now, whether you said that out of the bluff, whether you were told to say that to tease something that they're working on, let's do it. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that we all miss interacting with each other. We all miss... I miss my friends. I miss family that I can't see. These wrestlers miss hanging with the boys. The way the wrestling world wrapped around each other when Brody Lee passed. So why can't we have a tournament of world champions? Obviously, when this is all over, it'd be a lot easier. So I'm challenging every wrestling company out there, whether it's AEW, Impact, New Japan of America, hell, NWA, WWE, for crying out loud. If you really want to get some fans back, because your ratings have sagged a bit, let's do it. Let's make a big tournament. Bring in every world champion. Bring in every intercontinental champion. Do a men's and a women's tournament. And just have fun with it. Who cares who goes over? Let's just see who the best is. And this could be something that you promote great, and I would love to see it. So one day, maybe. One day. That's a wish list for me, I guess.
I feel like Hawkeye and Endgame. Don't do that. Don't give me
Don't give me hope. Honestly, I think they should just call it the Brody Lee tournament because just the way, because I still can't get over like how people have talked about him, like they talk about Eddie. Like no one had a bad thing to say about this guy. They're supposed to be celebrating Brody Lee Jr.'s birthday on
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be so hard to watch. But then again, there are like kid smiles.
If his birthday present is a title shot at Kenny Omega, I fully expect to see Omega take him down like he did that 9-year-old girl that one year.
I think he has a pinfall victory over him or something like that, doesn't he?
Yes, in a backstage match.
Yeah, hey,
I want either that or I want Marco Stunt and -1.
Man.
Hey, you know what? In 10 years,
10 years will be twice the size of Marco Stunt.
Oh my
I know
God.
what he's coming for.
Yeah.
Can you imagine his graduation gift? It will be a title shot at AEW.
Oh, they're like at graduation announcing his name, and I forgot what the word is when you're like graduating but you're not there. I know there's some fancy word for it, but they're like, he could not make it today because he has an AEW title shot.
Yeah.
No, he's getting his diploma, but then Marco Stunt appears behind him with a chair.
How great if his gold graduating class got to do it on an episode of AEW? Just walk across the ring, get your diploma that way, right? So,
yeah.
Archery shows up with the 24/7 7-Eleven.
Yeah, he could have his principal just at AEW, and they announce the main event. He walks out, gets his diploma, shakes his hand, takes off his cap and gown to show his dad's wrestling tights, and just gets in the ring.
And MJF rips up the diploma to get some heat.
I can definitely see that.
He may go down as my favorite heel because of what he did for him that night. Oh my God, that was just so great.
And the fact that he tweeted afterward, "F that kid." Our Twitter account at @CCG_WrestleCast, and of course, subscribe here at Countdown City Geeks YouTube channel. Let us know what you thought about HardtoKill. Let us know what you thought about the PWI Tag Team 50, and please definitely subscribe and get notifications because during the Royal Rumble, we will be going live with our reactions. It's going to be a fun time. Yes, Ted from the Countdown City Geekcast is also going to be joining us for that. He's mentioned he was interested in joining us. He wants to be a part of that as well. So he'll be making his first WrestleCast appearance, I think. So it'll be a lot of fun. Next week, we are going to be previewing the Royal Rumble itself before we get to the live show on 31st. Yeah, so WrestleMania season started. The road to the 2-night event in Tampa, which... Hey, we'll see how it works out. We'll see how the Rumble's going. See if McIntyre is going to be able to defend his title, because as it stands right now, if he's not able to defend it, it appears they're going to strip him of the title. So we'll see.
And once again, we're going to be on the fast lane to WrestleMania this year because they threw fast lane in there now.
Of course they did.
I'm trying to be positive. It's like maybe this year, and then I started saying that since I was like, and then there goes my hope again.
I will note that I don't believe there's an NXT takeover attached to this Royal Rumble. I don't know if they're going to do one in February and then again before Mania, or who knows.
I thought they were going to do one in February, but maybe I'm thinking of something
else. It might be February, yeah.
Mm.
But the next NXT UK won't be until June. It's going to be in Dublin. Obviously, with everything going on, they had to cancel the Blackpool one again. So that's what's going on right now. So, guys, thanks for joining. It was fun to talk Impact and talk about a PWI Tag Team 50. In addition to the Rumble, we'll also kind of briefly mention the PWI Year-End Awards and see what they came up with and see what the fans voted on that. So, over here, we got Tommy.
Thanks, guys.
Over there, we got Mike.
Thanks, guys. Be good to each other.
And I'm JC. And as always, heels and baby faces, remember, pro wrestling is real.
People are
fake.
Fake.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Hey yo, subscribe to the channel by clicking right here.
Or if you want to watch more videos, click right here.